on my hair, uska wo thing I'll share with you, and I think you should. It will be useful because you will be able to talk about this to more and more young minds, because that is a nice thing that's happening in your life. You are able to connect with so many young people.
Absolutely.
In fact, I'm missing that here. I have to start seriously, as I told you the other day, do something in such a way that I get chances to interact with people, young people actually.
You should do that. I mean, especially people like you who carry such, such a diversified experience. You should interact more with the people, youngsters, so that they get benefited out of your experience.
Sure. Should we
All
wait
right,
for?
So shall we start?
We wait for some more time, or what's the status?
I think like people will join and we can start the program.
Okay.
Because so that we can be on time. Why should others wait who have already there on time?
Yeah. However, so please, how you want to start? Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome you once again to the program. So this is a Women Entrepreneurship Development Program, and here we have participants from across the country, right from Rajasthan to Manipur to Tamil Nadu to Gujarat to Delhi. So we have people from all corners of the country, and this is a very diversified women group where we have youngsters like somebody who's 20 years of age to somebody who's like 57, 58 years of age and still looking for starting a new inning and starting something of their own. A lot of students are also there who are basically from a health background, not really from a management background, but want to pursue something in or come up with their own startup. And audience, I would like to introduce you today the gentleman who's here, Mr. Jagan Sheshadri. He's a very, very seasoned startup consultant and carries over 20 plus years of experience. He has worked as an AGM Learning and Development with MGM Healthcare Chennai. He's a lead corporate and community partnership at Kralis Chennai. He has been expert consultant to many organizations and also worked with National Entrepreneurship Network, who is a leading organization into entrepreneurship education for India as a consultant, and not just for India, but also for their Muscat, Oman, initiative. He has been mentoring lots of startup and also been contributing a lot to the entrepreneurial ecosystem in this country. So I'm very glad that Jagan sir has accepted our invitation and joined us today as a resource person for this program. Today he's going to talk about how can you form wonderful teams for your startups? How can you take decisions, be a leader in yourself? So I don't want to waste any time, and without wasting any time, sir, over to you. And thank you so much once again for joining this program.
So thank you so much, Sheenu, for the opportunity. I hope I'll be able to add
pleasure.
To all the participants.
Certainly, it's our pleasure.
Yeah. So I will also request the participants to kind of be as much as participative as possible, because for me this is not yet a norm, this online thing. It probably a lot of people have got used to. For me it is still not a norm, so I would be thankful if people can participate, stop me, and interact as much as possible, however it is possible. So I would request the organizers also to help me in juggling in that aspect, so that we are able to have a engaging interaction. So, and my disclaimer to all the people is, though Sheenu has given so much about me, I'm still, I believe there's so much to learn. I'm just going to share whatever I could learn in my own experience. I'm bound to have a lot of learning and through this interaction. So looking forward for that. So thanks so much once again. So I will now open my presentation, and you can tell me if you are able to watch the presentation, so that I can go on with my presentation. Is everybody the screen clearly able to see?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah. So, friends, as the topics that were shared with me, we are going to look at goal setting. We are going to look at decision making. We are going to look at leadership and also team building. So, when we say goal setting, as they say, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So, in my understanding, Goal setting is a very critical exercise, especially if you're very, very keen and serious about your own venture, your own startup. And today I have taken one framework which I believe is very, very effective. And I've also used this framework in one of the organizations where I worked, and it is quite popular today. The reason again why I chose this is after introducing this concept to you, you will all get a lot of chance to go and get a lot of tools online. That's why I picked up this particular framework. And most of you, or rather many of you, might even have known about this. So uh, let's move into that. So the concept that I'm going to take up today is very popular. It's called OKR, and the original concept actually was formulated in Intel as a practice, as a management goal setting tool, and then it spread to the different Silicon Valley companies. Now, John Groove is the person who's supposed to be the one who started this framework and sort of used it in Intel. And this particular framework became very famous because Google adopted it during its first year of inception in 1999. And Google attributes this framework for its growth from 40 employees to 60,000 employees today. So the moment we say this, some of you might think that this is meant only for digital company startups, but no, it's across industries. This tool can be used. It's being used. Walmart is using it. Target, the FMCG giant, is using it. The Guardian, all you know, Dun and Bradstreet from the branding side, and a banking sector, ING. These are some OKR being used by some of the popular organizations across the world. Now, as you would have seen in the last slide, my flow is always going to be in such a way that I'll first start with the why of it, what that particular concept is, and how to use that concept. So it will be a why, what, and how approach. So from that perspective, why should we use OKR as a tool? Now, OKR has the benefit, or it is useful because it has this capacity for formulating agile goals. My dear friends, all of you will agree that today, given the VUCA world in which we are, the VUCA, you all know, volatile, uncertain, we all know we are facing it today. So in this sort of a situation, we need goals which are agile. Agile means something which we can change and which we can adapt and be quick. So OKR supports that kind of setting agile goals. It's very simple when it comes to using it as a tool or a framework. And the best part of OKR as a tool is it actually has a lot of transparency within the team, within the organization, whatever size your organization is. And then there is something, a unique thing about OKR is it has got nested cadences. We'll get into it as we move forward. It has the capacity for bi-directional goal setting. What do we mean by bi-directional? It's not just that usually goals are set from the top and it is supposed to be spread down and people need to know. In OKR, it can be both top down as well as bottoms up. That's the best thing. And OKR also gives you the scope for formulating ambitious goals. And a very unique feature about OKR, why it is very, very effective, is it does not actually relate this particular tool framework with the rewards or the compensation. So this very clearly has in its framework, or it is said that as a rule, we don't combine OKR's output is equal to the compensation or the sort of performance related pay that is there in organization. So that's a very unique thing about OKR. So now let's try to understand what OKR is. OKR, if expanded, is objectives and key results, is a goal setting system. It's a simple approach to create alignment and engagement around measurable and ambitious goals. So friends, it can be frequently set, tracked, it can be re-evaluated. Usually it is done on a quarterly basis. The goal is to ensure everyone is going in the same direction with clear priorities in a constant rhythm. So that is something which is explaining OKR. John Doerr, a VC who invested and introduced OKR to Google, he says in simple words, the formula for OKR is I will dash as measured by dash, which means a proper goal has to describe both what you will achieve and how you are going to measure its achievement. So friends, the key word here is measured by. Since measurement is what makes a goal a goal. Without it, you don't have a goal. What you have is only a desire. So what differentiates a desire and a goal is this. How can we measure it? That's where the difference is. Are we all on the same page so far? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so because I'll keep doing this because I have this bad habit of checking because I don't take it for granted, people may lose track. That's why I'll do this. Anyhow, is it my thing is there? Are you all able to see it? See my screen? The presentation is visible?
Yes.
Yes, visible, sir.
So we are moving on. So the dash is, first dash is I will, the objective as measured by the key results. So let us try to understand what an objective is. Please focus because this is the thing that you need to understand if you want to use this framework. Objectives are memorable, qualitative descriptions of what you want to achieve. It's qualitative, memorable description of what you want to achieve, and necessarily they should be short, inspirational, and engaging, which means an objective should motivate and challenge the team. This is the one which is going to be making the team move forward. So this is the criteria for writing an objective or formulating an objective. Now let us look at what key results mean. Key results are a set of metrics that measure your progress towards the objective. So one is fixing the objective. So the key result gives you the scope to measure your progress towards the objective, how far you are moving. So for every objective, you should have a set of minimum 2 or up to a maximum of 5 key results. More than that, no one will remember them. So make sure that the key results are mapped to every objective, and it should be anywhere between 2 to 5. Now let's take an example of an OKR for us to better understand what we mean by OKR. The first thing we'll take is the objective is create an awesome customer experience. This example we are taking because against all sorts of businesses, the customer experience is very critical. Today, especially customers are empowered, all of us know, and they have always been the most important person in our business. Here, we are talking about experience. Now, once we take up this as an objective, what should be the key result? How should we write the key result is, how do we measure that? The first step is improve net promoter score from X to Y. Please see here, it is all in numbers, which means you should be already measuring, or you should have a base X and you want to go from X to Y. That is one way to have a key result for the objective that we have stated in the top. The second is increase repurchase rate from X to Y. So when you track your purchase cycle or the purchase habit of your customers, can you increase it from X to Y? If it is X today, can you improve it to Y? Then maintainer, see, this is very important. Many times the key result, the first 2 key results are telling us something about how to move forward, but we should Also keep in mind, especially for a startup, if you don't keep your cost under control, it's going to be a futile exercise. You might build a great customer experience, but if the customer acquisition cost is going to be so high, what will you make? How will you take care of your profit? So the third key result here, we will look at it as maintain customer acquisition cost under Y. So you freeze it, you seal it. That's what we are doing. So this is one example. Now let's take another example. Now consider a team that wants to increase the engagement with a digital service. This again is a very interesting example because today, given the pandemic situation and also the world in which we live, nobody can be away from the digital footprint or their digital presence in the market. So there is a digital market and all of us need to. So the objective is delight our customers through our digital service. That's the objective. So what are the key results that we need to look at to measure that particular objective? Reduce the revenue churn, which means the cancellation of orders. When we look at it from an e-commerce perspective, from X percentage to Y percent. Again, you see here also, we are getting the net promoter score, the NPS, which is a very important score from X to Y. Improve average weekly visits per active user from X to Y. Let's say per week, we have currently some 100 visitors. Can we work with this and make it 200 or 250? So you fix it. That is what is the key result there. Then increase the non-paid traffic. We all know how to get traffic into our website, right? I mean, we know that there are ways to push and get it, right? So paid is traffic generated due to advertisements. Now here we are talking about non-paid where it is organically, which means they come by themselves through their own search. Improve engagement. Users that complete a full profile from X to Y. Now these two examples will give you an idea as to how we can fix an objective O and the key result KR. So this is two examples for you to understand how we can formulate a OKR in our own organizations. So let's look at some tips for writing good OKRs. So first of all, objectives should be simple, short, easy to memorize. In the sense, it should be like a mantra, which means if you have to stop to breathe while reading your objective, you are doing it wrong, which means it should not be too long. That's what they mean. When you read your objective, it should be quick, fast, easy to memorize, right? Simple. It should be simple, easy, and it should be there in the top of your mind. So the second important thing is objectives should not be boring, because especially when you're working as a team, it's the mantra which will make the team run, which will keep the team awake, which will keep the team inspired. So you have to keep it very, very interesting, inspiring. They can fit the organizational culture and be informal and fun also, because it's an internal document. Please, friends, it's not that you're going to show this to the world. It's an internal document, so it can be informal, it can be fun. You can use slang, internal jokes, even profanity, whatever fits your culture. Depending upon the country, the culture of your own organization, you can make it fun, informal. For key results, what is it important? Separate metrics from task. Friends, this is very, very important, because when we start with this OKR exercise, many times we will bring in our task, the to-do list also into key results. No, the to-do activity list is not supposed to be considered as the metrics as the key result. It's different. So set few of them, usually 2 to 5 per objective. Don't write a bucket list of key result areas. So these are the important tips as far as OKR is concerned. Now let's move on. So here I'm trying to clearly differentiate for you the difference between activity-based key results and value-based key results. So avoid what is there in the left side and make it in the way it is given in the right side of the column. For example, you want to create an activity-based key result would be like this: create engagement program. That's an activity, right? That's your to-do list. But it should not be written that way. It should be value-based, which means the outcome should be there. The outcome should be very clearly defined. Improve employee engagement from X to Y. That's a key result. That's a value-based key result where you're able to see the value of the objective. When it progresses, the outcome can be seen. It is measurable. Develop 3 new landing pages. That's an activity list. Look at how we can break it into value-based key results. Generate Y number of MQLs, marketing qualified leads. Y, quantify the number. Increase lead conversion from X to Y. Reduce a CAC, that is, as we all know, the customer acquisition cost from X to Y. Launch new product. That's just a directive. That's just an instruction. Here we are saying reach Y daily active users of the free version. So we are quantifying the number of active users. Achieve Y% conversion rate from free to paid users. See the way the difference is in formulating the key results when you are using value there. Achieve a net promote score of Y. So friends, I think we are clearly seeing what is an objective, what is a key result, and what are the important things that we should keep in mind when you are using this as a tool, as a important tool for us to formulate our goals. Now let's move on. So what are the to sort of summarize the whole thing, what are the benefits because of the OKR? It gives you agility in a situation, business environment is very dynamic. So it gives you agility to change, to check, and it gives you alignment and cross-functional cooperation. It gives you alignment. Otherwise, what we mean by alignment, it gives you the direction. It gives you, and you will be able to also appreciate when you write such OKRs, and when each team member writes their own OKR, what is happening there is they will be able to appreciate where they need support from the other members of the team. That's what we mean by cross-functional cooperation. Now, friends, this again, you will be able to relate when we look at team building, because that's also this. So this exercise is going to help you also in your team building, strategy. So another thing is OKRs will help you to reduce time for setting goals because it's so precise. It's not that you are talking in air, you're just being wishful. No, it's giving you focus, and it gives clear communication across the organization with all the team members. It engages the employees because the OKR exercise gives the employees the feeling of participating, and they feel it is so interesting. They feel part of the organization. They're contributing for the growth of the organization, and they are very engaged. Of course, it gives them autonomy. That's why we said it's a two-way exercise. It's not one way. So they get a chance to talk about their ideas in terms of fixing the objective for themselves, their team, their immediate goals, and also accountability is also very clearly fixed because the key results will take care of the accountability. It gives focus, it gives discipline, it gives opportunities to have bolder goals. Now we spoke something called as a cadence for OKRs. Cadence, in other words, means rhythm, the periodicity for OKRs. So we can divide them into 3 types. The annual strategic, the big overarching big goals can be there for the company at an annual level. Then we can have quarterly tactical OKRs for teams with a mid-quarter review. So how we can do that? We can also have what is called as weekly check-ins for tracking results. Now, this is the framework of OKR, and this is a very powerful framework if we understand its importance, its value. And I have used this in one of the organizations we worked, and we were able to see clear results out of using this particular framework. So it's a very powerful, it's latest, it is trending, and you will find a lot of templates also available, on if you want to, or you can simply use Google Docs to formulate. You can have a form, across the organization, a Google form, and you can put this. And the most important thing is it should be known to everybody. So if you are the founder, it does not mean that your OKR is not known to others, or somebody is a fresher who's joined, their OKR is not known to somebody. So it should be very transparent. That's a very important criteria for OKRs to work. Now, Before we move to the next topic, friends, I would want you to take some time now and maybe 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. I want you to quickly write, all of you, if you can write, think and write about one objective that you want to formulate for your own organization, and also 2 to 5 key results for that objective. And after this time span of 5 to 8 minutes, I will just ask any one of you to read out your own objective and key results so that we know that you've understood and the others also can sort of understand that it is doable and you feel confident in using this tool. Is that okay? Hello?
Yes, sir. We'll do it.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Okay, I'm waiting.
Okay.
I hope everybody remembers what is an objective, what is a key result. So in case you need me to sort of share, you can ask me, I can share those slides again for you. Somebody has finished, you can maybe raise a hand or you can unmute and you can speak. Oh yeah, I see. I think it is.
Yeah. Okay. Arya, yes, you go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am, you can.
Yeah, please.
No, Arya, you may start. I'll join you. I'll come later on.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, please.
Here. So my one question before putting my words, can we put this OKR framework for startup also? I mean, not a startup, if some startup in bootstrapping phase. So can we put this framework for that too?
Can you come again? I mean, you are asking me whether we can use this framework for
bootstrap startup too.
I mean, absolutely.
We are not in a bootstrapping stage. We are not much clear about our customer and how will be their response to us and how will our experiment will go success. So in that, yeah.
So, but even in your bootstrap situation, you will definitely have an objective, right? I mean, what is the nature of your startup? Can you just tell me what is
No,
that?
Sir, I'm in ideation state only. I have a lot of ideas.
No. Even if it is an idea, you will definitely have an objective as to what you want to do with your idea, right? I mean, obviously, yes. So you can definitely do this exercise even at an ideation stage. Definitely.
In the ideation state, with whom I can put this exercise or this framework?
So basically, if you do this exercise, let's say you define a particular objective and you're going to measure yourself, right? Let's say you want to start a website for your own, let's say that's a basic thing that everybody wants to, right? So that's an objective, right? Now, how do we make a website which will be something which will add value to your idea? So that is where the objective is already formulated, right? So website formulating, getting a website up and running is the objective. So the key result is, how can I do that? What are the ways I will measure as to how I will achieve that objective will be your key result. Is it making sense to you?
Yeah, sir. Yeah. Now I'll come to my what I done. Yeah. In context,
always remember all the important things. The objective should be qualifiable. It should be something simple. It should be memorable and easy to remember. Short. Yeah, go ahead. Let's listen to your objective.
Yes. In context of a logistic, I just create this objective and key results. So my objective is to create a effective online presence of a company. Like company redefined is the name of the company, and I'm just creating this objective for a logistic company to create an effective online presence. And my key results are measuring the employee engagement. I mean, the employee engagement should be increased to some X% to Y%. This is first.
1 minute. Arya, if you're saying that this is a company is yet to begin, do you already have employees in this organization?
No, sir. Company is already working because it's a logistic company. It don't have an effective online presence. But
right. So you want to create a digital internal communication tool for this organization. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Yes.
So
right, that's a good method. Yeah.
So key results, what we are expecting from these objectives are, employee engagement should be increased to X% to Y%.
Okay, so have you tried to measure what is the current percentage of employee engagement, which could be in some terms, right? Like if there is already a digital presence, what are the number of visits, or what are the regularity of chats that is happening between, if you have a chat facility for employees to communicate between themselves, so that way you can know what is the current situation, and that could be your X, and how you can make it to Y. That's how you should go about this.
Yes, because company is already having its website or some chat option is also there, so it is already into this engagement. That's why we are saying it the X% to Y%. But they are already at some level, but we wanted to see some increase from that previous level to some expectation we are expecting in our results. This is the key result. Second
Okay.
key result is increase in organic traffic to some percentage, because
Okay.
earlier they were not on this social media platform and all, so there
Correct.
were no organic traffic. Now they have a presence on all these platforms, so now we can measure their organic traffic presence, how
Good.
much they are increasing in a weekly or a monthly basis. We can measure this thing.
Right.
Third result is we are how to get sales leads to some percentage. How much sales leads are coming from online way.
Right.
Otherwise, offline way, they have their sales team and all, they are achieving their leads. But in how many percentage they are getting from this sales leads from this online? This is
Very
the
good.
third result. Fourth result is getting a customer conversation through this Twitter way or LinkedIn way or Facebook way.
Hmm.
This can be also a key result for this objective.
Right. You add one more. You can also say the cost. You will try to achieve this under in a particular budgeted cost. Right. This effort should be budgeted and it should be achieved within that particular budget. That could be
Okay.
your fourth
Then
key
it
result.
will go into inorganic way, no, sir? If pay
No,
per
no, no,
click,
no.
we
No,
will
no,
put
no, no, no. I'm saying whatever now you will be spending in terms of, maintaining certain things, right?
yeah.
You will be maintaining. There will be a cost for maintaining the website and all that. So you have to have a tab on that also. That's what I meant by the cost, not the cost of acquiring a customer. I'm not saying that. The cost of having this digital presence. It will be right. There will be a cost, right? So freeze that cost and try to keep it at that cost alone, or you want to bring it down. That's something that you can look at.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, great, fantastic. I'm so happy that you're able to
Thank
appreciate
you.
this framework. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Who wants to go next? Somebody was wanting to go next.
Yeah, sir. This is Vandana.
Yeah,
Right.
tell me.
Okay. I'm at the ideation stage. Okay. Now, this is something that this has come to my mind. I wish to start a school.
Hmm.
Okay. Wherein I would like to teach, not exactly teach, but yes, would love kids to learn from nature.
Hmm.
Okay, nothing from the books, nothing from the
Hmm.
books.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
from
Hmm.
nature, from Indian culture, from all our basics, whatever, when we talk about back to basics, I want to
Hmm.
bring in all those things into that. I would not call it a school, but yes, since for a layman, it's a school.
No,
So,
actually,
yeah.
let me just tell you.
Hmm.
Actually, it's a school because unfortunately we don't know the meaning of the word school. The etymological meaning of the word school comes from the Greek word skole, which means leisure,
Exactly.
which means
Right,
leisure.
right,
So a
right, right,
mind which is at leisure alone can learn. So you can call it a school because you want people to learn there
okay,
in leisure, right?
right, right,
So,
right, right.
so tell me, yeah, it's
So,
interesting.
right. So there are a lot of institutions which are doing it, but still I do not know what is what is the level of the intervention that they are, doing.
Hmm.
So this is something that I have in mind. Okay. Now for this school, I need to approach parents. Okay. There has to be takers for this concept, for this idea.
Hmm.
So basically the objective is to start this kind of school. Okay. And I have to reach out to parents, the prospective customers, and for that, the key results would be what I intend to do initially for 6 months, initial period of 6 months. I would like to at least touch 100 parents.
Hmm.
Okay. Then would like to have second key result would be to have, what is it that I have written? Whole awareness campaign.
Hmm.
Okay. And then later on, have one-to-one talk or communication or interview or anything of that sort with the parents. So this is what this is at a very basic level. The things are still not clear to me, but yes, I know somewhere at the back of mind I have this idea that this is what I want to start, this is what I
Fantastic.
want to
Very, very happy. In fact, this is very close to my heart also, because I have this, I have this dream also. So we
A
should
lot of
connect.
yeah, there are a lot of schools like Arohi in Bangalore is doing it, and
Yeah,
then
I know
Waldorf is also
Ratnesh.
there.
I know
Yeah.
Ratnesh personally. I know
Okay.
Ratnesh personally. Yeah.
Okay. Good, good, good.
I follow a lot of schools. I follow
Right.
Center for Learning, Bangalore, Arohi. There is Marudam. There is,
Right.
in fact, a lot
There
of
is
good.
Riverside also, which is there in Ahmedabad, run by
I know that.
Kiran B. Sethi. That is on the concept of design thinking. Okay. So this is something that I have in mind, and I do not know how would it happen. How would that things would come in place. So this is what I was thinking. This is
So,
the objective.
so try to make it even. You're at the first level as a raw idea. It is right, but you have to polish it. You have to write
Right.
more, and
Right.
and you have to make it more precise, right? Because
Right.
you're trying. See what you're trying to say. If I understand this, you want to reach the potential customers who are the parents,
Customers.
which is right in
Right.
your.
Right.
But key result should be, what are the things that you will do to reach them? Are you going to have an online campaign? Are you going to have, because given the current situation, you need to have the online campaign. So what are the
True.
different things that you're going to do?
True.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then
Okay.
measure it
Okay.
measure it regularly. Visit it every week. Visit it on a mid-quarterly basis. That's how you
Right.
work
Right.
with
Right.
us.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
connect with me after this program. I have a
Okay,
lot of
I'll do
friends.
that.
We can connect, and we can definitely help you
Yeah,
in this.
that would make me quite comfortable to share what exactly I have in
Sure,
mind, what is it that I want to bring in
sure,
on the
sure.
table.
I've
I'll
been
surely
spending
do.
close to, yeah, close to
Right.
10 years in
Thank
this
you.
work.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll
thank you.
get connect to Dr. Sheenu.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. Any one more person can we have who wants to quickly tell me about what you have done with this particular framework, and then we'll move on to the next topic. One more person, please. Yes. Any volunteers?
कोर्स हो जाता पता क्यों नहीं हुआ क्योंकि आप बार बार रिवीजन कराते हैं
Hello.
Guys, anyone who would like to share? I think we should all come up and talk. That's very important.
Yeah, because
will help
otherwise
you
it's,
improve.
yeah. Yes, please feel free.
Anyone? Kanika, Harshita, Priyanka.
Or should I call? Because I am the resource person, will you give me the right to point out to somebody?
Absolutely, you have all the right, provided they speak.
So, okay, I'll go with Shalini. I don't know who this person is. Is Miss Shalini here? Miss R. Shalini. I see that name in the chat list, attendees list. Is the person available? Not sure. Okay.
People don't want to speak.
Okay. No, not wasting much time. I'll move on to the next. Oh, okay. I think Kanika is showing. Yeah, please, Kanika, go ahead. I'm so happy. Please.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for the explanation. Sir, see, my objective, I mean, the broad thing is to actually, provide something in the area of geriatric care. So,
Okay.
like right now, what happened like 15 days back, I stay, of course, with my in-laws, and my parents, they stay in the other part of the Delhi, which is quite, it's quite far from here. So, and they both got COVID negative, although first negative, but then they needed food. I mean, who's going to cook? They stay alone. My brother is overseas.
Right.
So we have come up with, luckily there was some kitchen available nearby, a lady who would cook for them. And she particularly had this knowledge, the basic idea that a high protein diet is needed. So she sort of customized it for my parents or for other. When I had a talk with her, she was actually catering to about 20 such families, particularly elderly people, elderly and super elderly. You know, so what I want to do is like, well, I'm not a clinical dietitian or anything, but even then, you know, can we go ahead and like cater to people, you know, to those who will be in ambulatory care after some serious chronic disease? I mean, when you're at the hospital, it's okay. I mean, you get a 3-time meal and you're in observation, and that happens. But when on the recovery, or say,
talking about a post-hospitalization scenario.
Yeah, post-hospitalization, and you know, further, like say, if you're 70, you know what you want to eat. I mean, you know, till 70 to 80 or 85, your diet plan, it's totally different.
Correct.
Right, it has to be fortified with the calcium, or I mean, different things that you.
Right.
I also am researching about this idea. So if we can provide a platform, particularly for those that age group only, you know, if they need free meals, the meal chart, and you know, organic food, a very high quality food.
Right.
So this is what is just the idea.
No, that's your idea. I see that's your idea of you want to have a catering services for geriatric age group people with very specific focus on nutrition for them being the key value add that you want to give through your catering services. That's your business idea, which is a fantastic idea. Now,
you know, because largely they're going to be dependent on maids. You know, the maid doesn't have the knowledge.
Right.
Maid will have okay, chawal de diya, chapati, but they don't know the specific. You know, they are in a need, just like a pediatric and a 10-year-old. You know, is highly specific. The calcium should be there. Likewise, they're in that area.
So your idea is you want to have a person who will be able to cook nutritious food for such age group people, and you want to sort of make sure that it reaches them and they get the benefit out of it and they'll pay for this service. That's your business.
The first thing is that they should be made aware of it, you know, because we in the families just everybody is eating the same food. I mean, whether it's like I haven't ordered. Then there is 8-year-old, then me, my husband, we are 40s, and then parents. So everybody eating the same. I think it should be changed.
So first thing that you're saying is you want to create awareness among the geriatric age group about the sort of dietetic and nutritious need that they have to focus on. So the first step is you want to create awareness. So if that's your objective, that's one line. You have to write it as your objective. Create awareness among geriatric age group people about nutritious diet. That's your objective. Then what are the key results? That is, how will you measure as to how you are going to reach that objective? That's your key result area, or the key result that you have to. So your objective is creating awareness. The key result is how you are going to reach that, how you are going to do that, the steps. That is your key result. So write down first this objective, then write down the key results, which is it should be measurable. Like I will do this to reach this objective. There will be, so you have to think now, what is the easiest way to reach them? You can't say I will have a, so what are the channel, what is the medium that is easily accessible, which they are comfortable? So you have to think
the most penetrated, I mean, these days is the WhatsApp group, I think.
No, so you have to find out through some research whether this group is actively using that as a medium. So that's all. So you have to do that homework. And once you fix that medium, you write your key results there. Like, I will send this many number of messages to this many number of group of people. I will measure by how many people have seen it and how many people respond. So I should have responses, reactions, so many people. Like if I send out so many messages, I should get a minimum of, so the numbers are fixed. And you have to do it for a particular period of time. That's a way to measure and go about doing your objective. OKR will work for you that way. Is that okay? Clear?
Yes, sure, sir, sure.
Yeah,
thank
good.
you.
So great. So now let's move on to the next concept. Are you all able to see the screen now? Is it visible? Friends, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, visible.
Yeah, yeah. So now we are going to take up the next topic. This topic is very important for any startup, any company which is, because decision making is the key for the success or the failure. Because in fact, in life also is a very important thing. So we're going to understand some management oriented decision making tools and ways of having this understanding about decision making. Okay, now let's see. So as I told you, the why of decision making. Why do we need to have this? Because effective decisions are very important as much as recognition is important about a bad decision, so that we can quickly respond and change, because this is a key ingredient for any organization's effectiveness, in the sense how quickly you are able to take decisions, at the same time how quickly you are able to understand if you have taken a bad decision, so that your organization effectiveness is there. So for a startup, when you're growing, every decision, single decision that you're going to take is going to make or break the success, the importance of your particular organization. And decision making is most closely linked with the planning function, because it is in the planning stage where you will have to take a lot of decisions. So that's what we are trying to say when it comes to why decision making is important. So what is decision making? It's very interesting definition you will see. Decision making is an act of choosing one alternate from among a set of alternates. And friends, all of us know at every moment in life, almost like every moment, we are getting a lot of choices. And it is how we choose, what we choose makes a difference. Even more, it is important when it comes to a business which we are trying to run. Every decision we take is going to decide. So first we have to decide what decision we want to make, because many times decision making becomes a problem, because if we don't understand what we want to decide, that itself is a challenge. The second is identify a set of feasible alternates and then select one. So the step one is decide that a decision has to be made. First come to the conclusion that I have to take a decision, because if you are indecisive about decision, then you can never make decision making. So first make your mind that I will take a decision. Second is look into the alternates that are there in front of you, and then we'll have to select. So how do we go about? What is the process? First is, as I told you, recognize and define the nature of the decision situation. Like for example, it could be an important decision related to recruitment. Let's say I'm seeing my business is slowly growing. I'm let's say I'm a 2-member now. I'm me and my co-founder. I want to take one more person with a specific skill set. So what are the different alternates that are available? So can I look at freshers? Can I look somebody with little experience, or can I look at somebody with more experience? So out of all these alternates, I have to choose the effective and then put it into practice. Why do we actually get into this process? Very simple. The factors can be such as profits, it could be sales, it could be employee welfare, market share. It is to optimize, right? In a company, we want to optimize these things. Or it could be to minimize loss, expense, or employee turnover, or select best method for going out of a business, laying off of employees, or terminating a alliance. So these are different situations in which you will get into a decision making process. That's what we mean when we say what are the effective situations in which you will get into a decision making process. Let's move on. Types of decision. Now, there are two types of decision, they say. One is a programmed decision, in which there is a lot of information, data points, it's structured, and it actually happens regularly. Or the another one is non-programmed decision, is the one that is unstructured and occurs much less than often. It comes once in a way. That's the difference. Now let's try to understand each of the type into what it means. So programmed decisions, many decisions regarding basic operating systems, procedures, and standard organizational transactions fall under this type. Let's say there are certain things which are regular in your organization. If if you're going to do something to do with, let's say you want to have a e-commerce thing of selling something that you make. Let's say you are doing something at home, you're good with craft, you want to make these products and you want to sell these products online. Let's say that's your business. But if you look at this business, there are certain things which are regular, right? If it's a craft, then there is a raw material. So those are regular things that you have to buy. You have to replenish your stock, your raw material, whatever it is. So these are regular things. And here the decisions are very, very organized. You know where to go, which market to go, which wholesale shop to go, what is the price, what is that you need to do. So this is called as program decisions, where it's very, very standard, and you know, and it happens regularly in a regular interval. Now let's look at the other type. Non-program decisions are decisions made by founders involving strategy or organizational design, and they are non-program. What do we mean by that? Decisions about mergers, acquisitions, takeovers, new facilities, new product, labor contracts, legal issue are non-program, which means it does not happen every day. Like for example, if you are a startup, you will suddenly find an opportunity to collaborate with somebody. You will find some opportunity to collaborate with somebody who's got a complementary skill set, and you can actually use their services. So that's the time that comes, not very often, but it comes in an irregular way. It comes once in a way. Other than that is whenever such things come, it is unique. You have to invest a lot of time. You have to energy and resources in exploring the situation, because you can't take it lightly, because it's a rare thing. It's happening not so commonly. So it's a unique thing. So you have to spend time. You have to think about it. You have to see all the possible factors. So intuition and experience are major factors in these decisions. So what helps during non-program decision making is intuition. And as women, all of you have this great gift. It is proved through research that you have a great advantage to have this feeling of intuition, which is very, very powerful and natural for women. And of course, your own experiences will help you in taking these non-program decisions. So what are the conditions under which we usually take decisions? We take under certainty. Certainty is program decisions. We know, yes, yeah, I know I have to buy this. This is my stock. I have to. So under uncertainty, suddenly the pandemic is an uncertainty, right? We don't know what's going to happen. So under such circumstances, we have to take decisions. Under risk, yeah, when I know that my stocks are depleting, but I've got an order, I have to process the order. This time is very less, and I have the risk of losing the order. So that's the kind of situation in which also we take decisions. Now here is a classic way where they give us 6 steps to decision making. The first step is recognize the need for a decision. First of all, recognize the need for taking the decision. Then generate all the possible alternates. Look for alternates. What are the possible alternates? Then assess each alternate. After assessing the alternate, after giving some scores to each alternate, which is try to do a SWOT analysis, the famous SWOT, like what are the strengths of these alternates? What are the weaknesses of this alternate? What is the opportunity in this alternative? What is the threat in this? So based on that, give scores to each alternate. And out of that, whichever gets the score, which is very, very promising, choose that alternate. Then implement the chosen alternate. And after implementing, always wait for feedback. See what happens. Observe what happens. Many times we pick up an alternate, we implement it also, but we are not careful enough to actually look for feedback we don't follow up as to what has happened by using that particular alternate. So it's very important to close the loop. The last step is equally important. So these are the 6 steps for decision making. I hope this is clear. I'll leave here a few seconds for you to observe and absorb these 6 steps. I'm going to pause for you to read. Okay, now let's see what next. So you see in this, one of the important step, all of us where we will have a lot of issues is how do we assess the alternate. So here is a flow chart for you to check whether how to evaluate alternatives. Is this alternative feasible? That's one question you can ask. If it is yes, then move to then eliminate from, if it's no, eliminate from consideration. If yes, is the alternative satisfactory? First is whether it is feasible. Then is it satisfactory in terms of what you are looking for? Is it satisfying your requirement? If yes, then move to the next step. Whether it is affordable. That's very important, right? It can be satisfactory, it can be feasible, but if it's very costly, we can't go for it, right? So check whether it is affordable. If it is affordable, if it is a yes, retain for further consideration. Keep that. That means it has got a good score. And obviously, at every level, if it is a no, you eliminate it from consideration. I hope this is also clear. Here also, I will pause for a few seconds for you to see this flow chart, understand and appreciate this process that you can use of how to evaluate alternatives when you're doing your decision making. I'll pause for a few seconds. I hope this is clear. I'm moving on. And another important criteria that you need to check, other than these four boxes, this is also equally important. Many times when we are making decisions, we forget these things. First thing is it legal? Is this alternate legally acceptable? Because many times when we are taking when we have to take a decision under uncertainty and risk, we don't see whether it's legally correct, and we may end up into a legal problem. So be very careful. The second is it ethical? Because friends, again, if it is an unethical thing, that alternate might land you up into trouble. Just as legal issue, ethical issue. One is for your own personal value that you follow, it can be a problem. The third is, of course, whether it is economical for my organization, for my startup, is it economical? And last but not the least, is it practical? Again, I'm going to pause for a few seconds for you to observe this list of possible course of action. First is you will ask whether it is a legal, is it legally correct, this alternate. Second, you will ask, is it ethical? Third, you will say, is it economical? The fourth, you will say, is it practical? Okay, I go on. So as I told you, the last step of the 6 steps, if you remember, I'm going back again for that. So after choosing and implementing a particular alternate, the most important is feedback procedure. Compare what actually happened to what was expected to happen as the result of a decision. So when you chose that particular alternate, you would have thought of a particular outcome, a result. Check whether it is the same result you got. Compare. Then explore why any expectation, if at all it is not happening, that what you expected and what happened is not actually what it is. Then ask this question, why it was not met. Then with this, derive guidelines that will help in future decision making. So use this particular experience and make your own notes. Okay, if I chose this alternate, I thought that this will come. It didn't come. It didn't come because this was the gap. Therefore, next time when I get into this alternate, I have to be careful to plug this gap so that I'll get the expected results. So that is why this is very important. I hope this makes it clear. Okay, let's move. Now, there is another interesting way you can make decisions. Sometimes we may not be able to take individual decisions. So that's when the power of a group comes in. A group can be just one more person or more than one person. Okay. Why it is important? What way it is advantageous? It is better than one mind thinking, as they say, right? Multiple minds thinking. So choice is less likely to fall victim to bias, because as an individual, I may have some bias, right? You know what's a bias, right? I may have some personal liking, dislike. So when I make the choice based on my personal likes and dislikes, I may make a wrong, I may choose a wrong alternate. I may choose a wrong alternate that is available. Whereas if there is one more person or more than one person, they can actually tell you, hey, you know what, you're thinking not okay, you're having a bias. So that way it's a very advantageous situation when we use group decision making. We can have combined skills of people, because a particular alternate, I may not know something technically. Like for example, if I want to take a decision to check about the SEO analytics, I know generally what is SEO and what is the analytics, but I'm not an expert, right? So if I have a member who is there with me, who has this capacity, they'll be able to tell me okay, how I can go about doing that. So that's what alternate I should pick, what AdWords I should pick, like that. And it improves the ability to generate feasible alternates. So the choice which we will make will be more appropriate. That's the idea of group decision making. There are two types of group decision making. It's a very interesting thing. So you present your alternate to the group. This is called devil's advocacy method, where the group will try to find fault or find all the possible mistakes or all the possible weakness in that particular alternate, that you're presenting to the group. So based on the criticism or the weakness that they talk, you reassess that particular alternate, which means you can accept it, modify it, or completely reject. So this is called as a devil's advocacy method of group decision making. I hope this is clear. I'll pause for a second for you to see the steps. Let's move on. There's one more method. This is called a dialectical inquiry. Now, what is meant by a dialectical inquiry? You present two alternatives to the group, and there is a debate between the two alternatives by the group. What is this group? So they debate. This is having this advantage, that is having this advantage, this disadvantage. So you debate between the alternate, and then based on the assessment of the alternate, you either accept one or two, or you combine one and two. So that's the beauty of this decision making technique called dialectical inquiry. I hope this particular technique is clear. Okay. So with that, we finish decision making. So before we move into leadership, which is the next topic, I want to know if anybody has a question or anything that you want to look into, revisit in this decision making topic.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Are there any disadvantages of dialectical inquiry?
No, see, basically, when as an individual, you are not able to make up your mind, that's when we get into a group sort of exercise, right? Now, dialectical, necessarily you should have two alternates. That's the starting point. You have two alternates and you have a group of 2 or 3 friends or your team members. So you're putting those two alternates in front of them. You're not able to decide, basically. There are two alternates, you're not able to decide. So you put that in front of them and they are trying to give you the plus and minuses of each alternate. So with that, on listening to them, you are also able to see which you were not able to see as an individual. So based on that, you can clearly either say, okay, 1 is better than 2 or 2 is better than 1, or no, I can actually look at these points in 1, these points in 2, I can combine 1 and 2 and find. So that way it has its own value. So every technique has its own value and the context in which we are going to use. So dialectical will be useful when you have two alternates and you're not able to decide between those two alternates. This technique will be useful. when you're having a group to help you in selection.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Are there any other questions, comments, remarks before we can move to the next topic? Anybody else wants to ask a question? Should we move to the next topic? Friends?
Sure, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So here we go. So as usual, leadership, why, what, and how. The framework or the model that I have picked up is called level 5 leadership. And friends, I want to just share with you, leadership is a very favorite topic for me because I used to teach also in the B school a long time ago. And I had the good opportunity of running two times. I ran a course, 40-hour course on leadership, for which actually I had to prepare. I had to read a lot of leadership literature. And that's when I actually came to understand about this leadership framework. It's a very powerful leadership framework based on research, actually given out in a book called From Good to Great. This book is written by this gentleman called Jim Collins. It's a very powerful leadership framework. And in my opinion, a very, very inspiring leadership model, leadership framework. So I'm going to share that with you today. And I believe this is a very powerful leadership model for a startup also. And I'll talk to you about an Indian example of a level 5 leader who has actually built a great organization by practicing level 5 leadership. So why level 5 leadership? Let's first try to understand. It is the highest level in the hierarchy of leadership capabilities. We'll be seeing that in the next slide. Leaders are at other 4 levels in the hierarchy. They produce high levels of success, but not enough to elevate the organization from mediocrity to sustained excellence. So there are 4 levels. The 4 levels, of course, will give us success as an organization. But to have that success continuously for a longer period of time, research has proved that level 5 is useful. So that's why it's called good to great transformation. Don't happen without level 5. Does not happen without level 5 leadership. Level 5 is not only requirement for transforming a good organization into a great one. So let's see what those levels are. So here is the levels. So level 1 is a highly capable individual. As a founder, let's say you are a capable individual who can make, you got the talent, you got the knowledge, skills, and good work habits you have. So you're capable, you're an individual. That's level 1. Then level 2, you can be a good team member. You can actually work in group. You can effectively mix with people. You can collaborate. That's level 2. Third is you can organize resources. You can, pursue goals. You can work very focusedly. You can actually lead a small group of people. That's a competent manager. The 4th level is effective leader who can actually catalyze commitment for a vision, stimulate the group for high performance standards. So that is an effective leader. So what is more than that in level 5 leadership? It is enduring greatness through a paradoxical combination. This is the beauty about level 5 leadership, friends. These are the 2 words that I want you to remember forever. It's a unique combination of a level 5 leader. Personal humility and professional will, which means you have the humility, at the same time, you have the will to succeed. You have that goal, you have that fire, you have that fabulous capacity that you will not give up. So this is the unique combination that you will find in level 5 leaders. They have personal humility and they have professional will. Let's see more about level 5 leadership. So good to great leaders always start with people. They are first bothered about people, and they will deal with vision and strategy afterwards. That comes second. Now, if you take the example of a level 5 leader, let's say the level 5 leader has a goal to reach a particular destination and it's a bus journey. What they will do is they will first get the right people on the bus. That's their key skill. They know to identify the right people to get into their bus. They will move the wrong people, if there are any wrong people, out of the bus, and the right people in the right seat. Look at the beauty. One is getting the right people. Second step is moving the wrong people out. Third is putting the right people in the right seat, and they will determine where to drive the bus. They will give the direction. They will give the vision. So this is the beauty of how to practice level 5 leadership. So friends, it is something that each one of us can practice. That's why I'm saying it's a capacity we can build. So that's why I'm talking about level 5 leadership. So level 5 leadership always has a culture of discipline. Very important, friends. Great leaders have 3 forms of discipline. They will have disciplined people, which means you don't need to have hierarchy, which means not that you are the big boss and people are very afraid of you. No, not that way. People are disciplined, which means they understand the importance of discipline. They follow discipline. They have disciplined thought, which means their thinking is very focused, which means there is no need for bureaucracy. And there is disciplined action, which means you don't have to have excessive controls. So combining a culture of discipline with an ethic of entrepreneurship results in great performance. So we see some of the things that we are now talking about level 5 leadership. I hope you are able to have a mental image of who a level 5 leader is actually. So what are the characteristics of a level 5 leader? Level 5 leaders are extremely modest, which means they don't talk about themselves. They will never talk much about themselves. They would talk about the organization, about the contribution of others, and instinctively deflect the discussion about their own role. They will always keep people first. They'll always talk about others. They'll talk about the organization. They'll never talk about themselves. They'll never go trumpeting. Self-trumpeting, they will never do. That's the meaning of it. So this is the yin and yang of level 5 leadership. They have personal humility and they have a professional will not to give up. Whatever the goal they have fixed, they will work hard. They will make it happen. That's the beauty of the yin and yang. So what do we mean by that? Let's look at what we mean by personal humility. Demonstrates a compelling modesty, shunning public adulation, never boastful, which means what? They are least bothered about public recognition. They will not be bothered about public recognition. They are so clear. They know what they need to do. They'll keep doing that. Acts with quiet, calm determination. Relies principally on inspired standard, not on inspiring charisma to motivate. So they will be a role model. They will demonstrate by their own actions. They'll not think that people will learn by just some sort of a charisma. Charisma is something out of the world, godly, nothing of that sort. They are very down to earth, very quiet. They'll work based on their own standards. They have their own standards. They will live that standard and people watch them, they get motivated. And channels of ambition into the organization and not the self. They will put all their ambition, all their energy on the organization and not on the self. They will set up successors for even more greatness, which means they will always help mentor somebody along with them. They'll always make sure that the next level of leaders are always created. That's something that they will do naturally. Looks into the mirror, not out of the window, to apportion responsibility for poor results. It's a beautiful quality, which means what? Whenever there is a failure, they will look into the mirror. They will not look into the window, which means no blame game. If there is a failure, they will always take it upon them. And if there is fantastic results, they will always look out of the window, which means they'll give the credit to others. Look at the other side. That's what they mean. And a classic example for this, I think, is the incident that Dr. Kalam had always said. I don't know how many of you have followed the life and the works of Dr. Kalam, our beloved late President of India, a great leader for our country. He always talks about the rocket launch experiment of India, and some of you might have also followed that. First time when they tried in 88, it was a big failure, right? The rocket didn't go up. It came in and it fell into the Bay of Bengal. And at that time, he says there was a press conference. Press was all there. So the ISRO chief at that time was Vikram Sarabhaiji. He comes and he meets the press and says, yes, there has been a mistake. I own the mistake. We will work as a team and we'll make sure that the next time this mistake will not happen. So he owns the mistake. And the next year itself, they successfully launched the rocket into the space. At that time, Kalamji goes to Sarabhaiji saying, the press is waiting, sir. At that time, Sarabhaiji says, it's time that you go and face the press, which means when success comes, he's at the back. But this is the quality of a level 5 leader. Creates superb results. Look at the professional will qualities. A clear catalyst in the transition from good to great. Demonstrates an unwavering resolve to do whatever must be done to produce the best long-term results, no matter how difficult. Friends, this is a superb quality that you will find in level 5 leaders. They will not give up at all. Sets the standard of building an enduring great organization, will settle for nothing less. This is something that you will find in them. They will set a high standard. They will never set anything less than that. So this is the yin and yang of a level 5 leader. They will be humble, but they will have a great will. So this is the combination. This is a beautiful level 5 leadership model that I want all of us to look at and see if we can become level 5 leaders when we are building our own organizations. And remember, friends, this is not that you can do this after your company becomes big. No, from day one, this has to start. Otherwise, it will not happen. That's why I'm talking about this leadership model to you people who are in the aspirational level of starting your own startups. Okay, the Indian example, a level 5 leader whom I admire, who's a personal inspiration, I'll talk about him so that you get an idea. You can also go and read about him. Is Dr. V in short. He's called Dr. V. In short, he's Dr. Vengadappa Govindaswamy, the founder of Aravind Eye Care Hospital. It's a fabulous eye hospital. I don't know how many of you know about this. It's a great organization. It has done great work in the world, I would say. He actually, at the age of 58, had this desire. After his retirement, wanted to actually do something different. And look at his goal. His goal was to remove needless blindness from the world. He didn't say from my district, my state, my country. He said from the world. So that is how level 5 leaders will always think. Big dreams, bigger than them. And he starts working towards it at the age of 58. He has a house and he keeps that house for mortgage and starts a humble 12-bedded hospital, eye hospital. Today, friends, Aravind Eye Hospital is there in multiple locations in Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry. And it's a multi-speciality eye care hospital. It is one of the best eye hospital. In fact, it did a great disruption. Before Aravind, cataract surgeries were very, very costly, was not affordable for poor patients. But today they have brought down that to an extent where the poorest of the poor can get eye surgery done free of cost with world class. You will also be surprised to know people from John Hopkins Medical School come to Aravind Eye Hospital to do their internship. And they did another revolution. They started Arrow Labs, which makes intraocular lenses of international standard, and it is exported to 40 countries. Initially, intraocular lenses costed $100. Imagine the poor person in India who lives in the village, who's a farmer. $100 is too much money. But by making intraocular lenses at Arrow Labs, they brought the cost to $5. It's a revolution, friends. And remember, friends, that was possible because of a level 5 leader like Dr. V. So I am sure all of you will try to read about Dr. V, follow Aravind Eye Care Hospital as a model, and try to aspire to become a level 5 leader and build great organizations like Aravind Eye Care. Now, before I move on to the next topic, I want to quickly wait for questions, remarks, and comments from the group. Are there any?
Sir, I wish to know,
Yeah.
you talked about the goals, right? Goal setting, okay, of the OKR formula framework.
Right.
Is it something related to SMART goals also? Is there
So
any difference? Okay, I would like to know any
Hmm.
difference between SMART goals and OKR framework.
No, I would say OKR is a improved version of SMART goals, because SMART
Okay.
goals is a earlier version. But if you look at
Okay.
OKR has been made. It has made SMART goals even more smarter. It has made it even more workable. It has made it even more easy, short, crisp. So SMART goals had some little tweaking that had to happen. So
Okay.
I would say OKR is a improvement, better version of SMART goals.
Better version of.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. About level 5 leadership, any thoughts, comments? Do you all feel that it's a good model to follow, or do you think it's not possible? Some comments I want to hear, because personally it's my favorite and I thought I can share that. So I want to know whether you also feel the same. Now you can disagree with me. I'm completely okay about it. Nobody wants to say anything? Surprising.
No, personally, level 5 is even my favorite. I think there is no better leadership model than this. Even I introduce this to students also, not just, at an organization level, but I think each one of us should follow a level 5 leadership. And that's my personal opinion.
Fantastic. Thanks, Shinu. And I
Sir,
hope
if that is the case, then why is it people are not following it?
No, that is because all good things need not be known to everybody. No, somebody has to talk about it, right?
No, still people know it. There are a lot of people who know it very well, right? And
No,
still
but
they don't practice it.
no, but do you know that somebody like Dr. V was a level 5 leader and has created a great organization like Arvind? Maybe that example is something which will inspire people, because an idea gets life by somebody who follows it, and we can then feel, oh, it is doable. A human being like me has done it, not some godly figure, some saint has done it. This is a human being like you and me.
Yeah.
Dr. V, the founder of
Yeah,
Arvind Eye.
I've seen that. I'll go through it. Dr. Shinu would agree with me that there are a lot of people in management area. They are well familiar with the concepts of leadership, but still they don't practice. When it comes to the leadership, there is, that is why it's say, people don't leave the organization, people leave the bosses. Maybe they act as boss, which is why, people leave the organization.
Yeah, precisely. That's why we need to promote level 5 leadership as a concept, even when people are studying management, so that when they become future leaders, they will be inspired to follow level 5 leadership and they can build great organizations. That's the idea why I brought this particular concept. And Shinu, just wanted to know from you, do you talk to your students about Arvind Eye Care as a case?
Yeah, we do. And especially now when we are in healthcare, I mean, this is like a case which has been quoted in most of the classes.
Correct.
On different facets of Arvind Eye. In fact, recently we had him here as one of the guests for the session.
Oh, fantastic. Who was there actually?
We got them from the management team, though it was difficult to get their time. But yes, we got a recorded version from them, and they spoke on certain questions that students had.
Wonderful. If that is something that you can share, please share. I'll be happy to see that whatever recording is, because
Certainly.
It's my personal favorite. And maybe to this group also try to share a small case about Arvind Eye Care, so that everybody knows about it. They can also, further read about it. Yeah.
Sure. That would be great, Shiru ma'am, if you can share the same with all of us.
Sure, I'll do that.
Yeah, so I move on to the last topic for today's discussion. So team building, the why, what, and how of team building. So why do we need to have this activity of team building? A lot of studies say 60% of startups fail to take off due to poorly constituted teams. So there's a very clear correlation between startup failure and poor teams. So please see the connection. And it becomes very important that we focus on this very important thing when it comes to team building. This statistic established the fact that behind every successful startup, it's a team which works, passionate individuals to get that goal. And regardless of how awesome your idea may be, building a team for your startup lays down the stepping stone for success. So nobody can actually build a great organization all alone. So that's why they say, no, Robinson Crusoe also needed somebody in the island, right? I don't know if some of you have read that story, but Robinson Crusoe also wanted somebody. Yeah. So let's see. Why? Because execution, if you have a great vision and it needs to be executed, it's only through a great team. And it's a great team which can actually define a startup culture. Now, if you want to build a great culture, it's only with the team that you can build that culture, which will be the culture of the organization. And all great organization which has grown in size and which is known for being what they are today, because they were having a culture defined even as a startup. Now, venture capitalists, another important reason why you should have a great team in place, or why you should have good important team building strategy, is because venture capitalists will assess your team before they invest in your company when you are actually wanting to attract funding. So these are reasons why we need to do team building. What is this team building thing? It's a group of people brought together to compete with a goal of winning a competition, and the conscious, consistent efforts put by the founder. So the team building is anchored by the founder of the startup. So that's where leadership is connected, that's why it's a key responsibility of the founder. Now, let's see. How do we do this? First thing is, as a founder, start with yourself. Ask the question, what are my strengths? What am I good at? What can I bring to this organization, this startup? What is that I can bring to the table? Define it, talk about it, keep it with you. Now, after having identified what you know, what you can, what you do, you might find that you need some complementary skill. That's when you try to find one co-founder or co-founders who can actually complement and who can actually supplement what is lacking, because not everybody can do everything, right? So that's where you find your co-founders. Then identify the key positions. Okay, we have formed the core team now. I am the founder, co-founders are there. What are the core team? What are the key positions? If mine is a tech-based startup, then I need a strong tech team. So I'll need people with software coding skills. I'll need somebody who can. So identify the key positions that will make or build your startup. Then what do? Shortlist the candidates. Once you shortlist the candidates, ask these 3 questions in your mind and check for these questions. Does the candidate possess the right set of tools for your startup? So do they have the skills? Do they know the tools? Then will they fit in your startup culture? You have a culture, you have a growth plan, you have the fire. Will they be willing to run at your speed? Will they be willing to stretch? Will they be willing to do what you are wanting them to do? Will they be able to build together the culture with you? Are they having it in them? Are they passionate about what they do? Do they have the passion? Because entrepreneurship is all about passion. Then after that, you hire them. And when you hire, make it very formal. Just because it's a startup, don't say I'll just talk and it's a word given. No, have a document. Start from, even if the first employee, give an offer letter. Have that documentation in place. So hiring should be proper. And talk to them what you can afford. What is that you can? Talk to them very clearly. And once they are on board, whatever you think training is required for them to perform, what they need to do, what's their core expectation out of them, train them for that. And then, most important, assign the role, make it clear for them, because this expectation setting in terms of roles is very critical, whether it's a startup or a bigger organization. Many times, a lot of people get into a lot of trouble because the roles are not very clearly assigned to them. And then you get into the exercise of employee satisfaction. What do you mean by that? Can you involve them? Can you make them feel important? Give them the autonomy to talk. Encourage them for that. Then one important thing when you're building teams is constant assessment. Friends, I can talk to you about this particular experience of mine. I used to work for this company, and what I found something very unique about this company is we had this culture of what is called as a daily DSR, a daily status report, which means we used to have a stand-up meeting every day, every single day, and we had to send that report to our founders. It was a small team. I'm not talking about a big team. It was a 10-member, 15-member team. We need, each team comprised of 2 or 3 people, maximum 4 people, but we had to do the stand-up meeting every day religiously, and we had to send that report by 11 o'clock to our founders. A very important assessment on a daily basis. And at the end of the week, on Friday, we had to send a WSR, weekly status report. What is that we did that week? What is that we are planning for the next week? This had to be sent. This had to be given. So see, friends, this is a culture of assessment that was there in that organization. I tell you, friends, in that organization, what are we planned during our annual business plan? Almost 70% we used to achieve. And 70% achievement as per your annual business plan is actually a very good marker that you're progressing. Okay, one other thing that you need to do while building teams, identify the doers, because for a startup, things are very, very dynamic. You have to act very quickly. You have to stretch. So you have to identify people who are really the doers, who are stretching, who are willing to run and do it. And you have to differentiate with people who do, but they talk a lot. They do less. So you have to differentiate. Not that they are not important, but you have to identify who are the doers and who are the sayers. Now then, most important thing, adapt, change, and improve, which means you have to be agile. You can't be slow. You can't take things for granted because it's a very dynamic environment. Most important, avoid homogeneity. Don't have a clone of yourself. Don't have all the people like you. Have different people, different skill sets from different backgrounds. Of course, not that you can bring people who don't fit into your requirement, but within that also, can you think of different people with different character traits? And especially since I recently finished DISC profiling certification, I can tell you there are 4 types of people: people who are dominant, people who can influence, people who can make things steady, and they are so get that type of people. Let there be a combination. And as a startup, always hire slow, which means think well, try to understand, use a lot of thought before hiring. Don't hire so fast, but fire fast, which means if you find that person you hired, in spite of all your exercises, in spite of doing all the due diligence, does not fit, show them the door, because as a startup, you can't afford to keep people who can pull you down. So that's a very important team building strategy. Now, there is always this question when you are building your team: do you have to have experienced people or raw talent, freshers? The answer to this question is whether they are experienced or raw talent is not important. Look at the passion. Look at whether they have it in them. And if it is an experienced person who has got it, vote that experienced person. If it's a fresher, then get the fresher. So there is no one answer to this. And celebrate and reward milestones. Very important. Little successes, very important, because in a startup, every little milestone makes a huge difference. And people stretch to get those milestones. So celebrate it. Tell the people you're happy, express it, make them feel good about it. And most important, build reflection points on achieving goals. The moment you achieve a goal, have a quick meeting, spend a day off or a half day, try to reflect upon what went okay, what didn't go okay, how did we get here, what we need to do better to get somewhere, the next step. And most importantly, erase hierarchical boundaries of communication. Never have this culture of not keeping people informed. It's a very, very bad thing to have, even as a startup. Keep people informed. People should never feel I've not been told, I've not got this information. Don't give surprises to people. Have a very open communication model within your teams. So friends, this is exactly what I wanted to talk about, team building. And so I think to summarize, we saw goal setting with the framework of OKR, then we understood decision making, some of the models, some of the techniques, how we can do effective decision making. Then we got into leadership. We took up level 5 leadership as a model, as a framework, and how you can use it to build your startup. And finally, we saw some of the important things related to team building. So friends, with this, I have completed my presentations. So I will now open the floor for a few questions. I would be happy if people who didn't talk so far can start talking to me. At least I know that they are there. They were there so long. Just a wishful request. Hope you will fulfill this request of mine. Is everybody online available or nobody is there?
Yes, sir. We are around.
Available, sir.
But others, I'll be happy if others can also talk, at least towards the end now.
Can I speak, sir? This is Razia.
Yeah, who's this? Sorry.
Sir, this is Razia.
Yeah, please tell me. Please tell me.
Sir, I'm very sorry to join the class late because I'm fasting. So I missed the beginning of the class. So can you please explain the first part that about OKR? I just know I heard that OKR, but I don't know what is that and all.
I would appreciate if you can look into the slides. I mean, they'll share it, and I would want you to study. And if you have any doubts or questions, you can always get back to me through a mail, or my phone number is there. We can get on a call, because I I hope that is okay. If Shinu still wants me to go back and talk about it, I'll do that. What's your thought, Shinu?
No, not required, sir. Razia will share with you the presentation and other details so that you can go through it. And if you have any queries and doubt, you can come back to us.
Yeah, that is
It would be difficult for sir to reflect it out.
Yeah. I then I have any doubts, I will get back to you all.
Yeah, absolutely. That you can always do that.
Yeah. Slides will be presented in the WhatsApp or?
Yeah, we'll be sharing those things with you.
I'll be very thankful for that.
Anyone else has any other questions?
You can always say that this was the most boring session I attended. I don't have a problem. I want some reaction. I want some reaction from people.
No, sir. Till now we are enjoying the class, and we need more sessions like this. We'll be happy to have this.
Thank you. Thanks for the feedback.
No, in fact, you beautifully covered everything. I mean, there were too many things for you to talk about it, and you reflected on everything in such a short period of time. But very precisely covered everything, right from OKR to level 5 leadership to the decision-making framework. I think you beautifully covered and illustrated them. So, I mean, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, sir, can I ask one thing? At present, what you are doing, because I missed the beginning of the class. So I don't know, have you introduced yourself for the class? I don't know. So I just would like to know, at present, what are you doing?
So I am currently a startup consultant, and also I'm a visiting faculty. I can teach, and I'm currently consulting for startups. I'm a professional with around 18 years of corporate experience. So I'm available for consulting and for teaching assignments.
Very good.
Yeah, I think somebody has raised a hand.
Parvesh, you want to ask something?
Parvesh, are you there? Not very clear. Okay, so Shinu, do you want to continue with the last step that you guys were planning, which we have as part of this? So, what's your thought? I mean, what do you want to do?
No, they'll be doing the quiz. But if anybody else has any question, we shall be happy to answer that.
Yeah, I'm also waiting.
Any doubts, any questions? So that you move one step ahead into making your plan. So as you mentioned today, the team is very important part, and you need to concentrate on building your team also for your startup, and look at from the decision making perspective how you're going to be an important leader within your own organization. You have to concentrate and look on all these aspects in detail. Since there are no questions, thank you so much, Jagan, for sparing all your time and sharing these wonderful thoughts. And in such a short notice, I'm really grateful. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity, Shinu, for me to first of all reflect on some of my favorite ideas and thoughts. So I hope we will get more chances to interact and collaborate. Thank you.
Certainly.
And
look forward to having you.
Sir, I'll get in touch with you. I would definitely like to share my idea. Let me first,
Yes.
bring little clarity, and then I'll speak to you. Get in touch with you.
Sure. My thing is there. My details are there with Shinu. So
I'll
please
do
feel
that.
free.
Thank you so very much for bringing in OKR 5 level 5 leadership. These were actually new things for me, although I've been, learning these things. But yes, would like to go into detail about all these things. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the session.
Thank you, everyone. Requesting all of you to please do the quiz for the day, and we'll have our next session tomorrow, which is more on marketing. So see you all tomorrow. There we'll talk about the aspects of marketing for your startup, right? And I'll be also sharing one Excel sheet where you have to put in what is the area of your idea on which you want to work upon. So I'll be sharing that by tomorrow with all of you. So meanwhile, I request all of you to think about it. Yes.
Hello, I am Rupashri Das. Hello. Are
Hi,
you audible?
Hi, Rupesh.
Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes,
Actually,
I
I'm not getting the exact time of this meeting because I have joined little late.
The time is 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. every day
Okay,
on 4 days a week, and schedule is already there. Yeah, 4 to 6, and schedule is there on the WhatsApp. Are you not there on WhatsApp group?
Yes, I am not getting the WhatsApp thing. How can I get the WhatsApp group?
Did you receive an email from us?
But only the registration confirmation details. That's only.
No, you got a login ID to join this, right? Into that
No,
there is a WhatsApp group.
Yes,
got it?
login ID is there, but every day I am joining through the guest, like a guest. In the
same email, there is a link for joining the WhatsApp group.
Yes. How can I join that?
Just click on that particular link and join the WhatsApp.
Okay. Then the PPT will be available in the WhatsApp group only.
PPT will be sharing with you at the end of the program, but every day recording we share on the WhatsApp group.
Okay. And what about the attendance? Is there an I have
attendance
to do...
the moment you join it, automatically attendance get recorded in system.
Okay, that's fine, madam. Thank you.
Right? Or in case if you are not able to find WhatsApp group, in the email there is an phone number given. Just reach out to that phone number and they'll help you in joining the group.
Okay, and it is every day, no? 4 to 5 every day.
4 to 6, 4 days a week. Yeah.
2 days a week.
4 days a week.
Which day it is?
They are sometimes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Sometimes it is some other days. But the schedule is already shared.
Okay. That is there in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, it's there in WhatsApp group also, and on the email also it has been shared. Once I'll reach out to you. Just wait.
Okay,
I'll send you an email again.
My name is Rupashri Das. Okay, madam.
I'll send you again. And tomorrow there is a class at 4.
Thank you, madam. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. So just do the quiz and feedback.
Thank you, ma'am.